All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. This is Tom Beal, and I'm here with David Lemon. We are here for Tuesday trainings with Tom and David, and this is the first one after the Groupathon. So, David, thank you for the inspiration. It was your 12-hour live stream that you had the idea for, that you did on your own, that inspired Mike and the Groove team to say, hey, why don't we just do that for 14 days straight? And we were just chatting before we came live here. I mean, first of all, type a 1 if you were able to tap into any of the trainings of the Groupathon. Type a 1 in any emotion that you feel was a good summary of the entire 14-day Groupathon. And at the same time, acknowledge that it was our one and only David Lemon here that inspired that from the 12-hour live stream. So I want to thank you for that great idea. That was fun. And as you mentioned before we went live, it's like, now what do we do with all this extra time? Because you were on live stream for 12 hours plus, 3 hours here, 3 hours there. You can knock out 3 hours in a heartbeat.
No
it's no big deal now. Exactly. So David's going to be here answering questions in the background, technical questions. He's the master of that. So any of your technical challenges, please feel free to communicate those with David here in the chat. I'm going to get into some training that's kind of recapping us post Groupathon. Now what? Now what do I do? So I see some people saying, one, yes, it was definitely a event to be a part of. So if you were fortunate enough to be there live, congratulations, you got to witness the amazing content, the amazing strategies, the tactics, the literal step-by-step implementations that the experts from around the world shared. And it was a host of the best of the best. I mean, if that were to have been a paid course for $1,000, it would have been a steal. $2,000 would have been a steal. $5,000 would have been a steal. It was massively valuable, all for you live to access at your convenience. And the good news is the recordings are there for you to access. So it's not one time done and over. You can go back and find the ones that are the perfect fit for you. Find the trainers that you resonate with, that shared the strategies that you know are the right strategies for you to take you from where you are now to where you want to go. And here we are today, going to help you find that clarity. Because there's that quote you see here on the screen. I heard this and it was like, wow, that summarizes success. When I look back on my life, I can totally see when I had clarity, when I had that clear sight of the desired outcome I had in mind, there was no obstacle, there was no difficulty, no challenge that was going to prevent me from finding a way around those challenges, over those obstacles, to continue towards the course of that desired outcome. So this quote is, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. Let that settle in for a little bit, and give me a 2 if you can feel that, like you recognize that is part of your past as well. For instance, when I have the chapters of my life I reflect upon, there were times that I was super clear, super focused. I knew what I was doing, where I was going, and I knew what was mine to do in that moment. And continuously, taking one step after the next, I reached that destination. Yet other times when I had that lack of clarity, it wasn't that life was terrible, but I didn't have that drive. I didn't have that burning desire. And for any of you who are friends of or passionate about the works of Napoleon Hill, you know, none of us got to meet Napoleon Hill in person, but we met him through his books. And obviously the most memorable book by many is Think and Grow Rich. There's a whole bunch of other books that he wrote, but that one shares the secrets of success. And the first step is the burning desire. And that's what I feel comes when you're able to find the clarity. So I'm going to check the chats here and see. Yes, 2. Yes. 2. Perfect. Dara, hello, more Tom Beal. Yes, Dara, you got more of me, and it's on a weekly basis. So we're going to continue this journey together. And I see some Bobby here. Next thing is hello from Canada. So go ahead and share with me now where you're joining in from, because we're going to jump into my 4-step process that's going to help give you crystal clear clarity. And regardless of what your starting point is here today, giving you the 4 steps to go through that's going to give you the exact clarity from your starting point to your destination as to what is yours to do. And you'll be able to discern that. So go ahead in the chat and I'll forward it here to let me know where you're joining from. So I saw we have Bobby from Toronto, Canada. I'm from Rochester, New York originally, so right across Lake Ontario there in the massive snow belt. We had lots of snow in Rochester, New York. I'm sure you are preparing for some decent snow coming your way in Toronto. I see Wisconsin there, another place where a lot of snow is coming to, Kim. So good. Ohio, Dara, good to see you. Faisal, hello guys from Paris. Hello. Facebook user viewing from Switzerland. That reminds me to go to this page here. If you hear me say Facebook user, all you need to do is go there once to this URL and click on that blue button there that says, let StreamYard see your Facebook Live comments. We're using StreamYard. So if I say Facebook user, go simply to this URL, streamyard.com/Facebook. Click that blue button once, and I'll be able to see you. So I see a Facebook user from Australia, Facebook user from Quezon City, Philippines. Go ahead and go to that URL, streamyard.com/Facebook, and the Facebook user from Switzerland. Bobby, love it. Let's go. Yep, we're going to jump right in. Facebook user from Houston. Let's see here. Where else we got? Lublin, Poland, temporarily. Lux Mass, good to have you here. Byron Ader, Florida, good to have you here. Facebook user Dean. Dean is the one and only that, Dean, we love you. And this is the fun part about technology, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what, there's going to be a percentage of stuff that just doesn't work. So Dean, we love having Dean here every week, but for whatever reason, when he clicks that blue button, we still see him as Facebook user. On certain other platforms that he joins in, sometimes we see him as Dean, and that's a nice treat and surprise. Boy, I can't pronounce that name from the UK. That's in a language I don't know. It looks kind of Russian-ish, but it's probably not. There it is. I'm not sure how to say that, but welcome from the UK. Rodney, I'm from the USA, just joined and gave access. Welcome, Rodney. Carol, hello from Pennsylvania. All right, good to have you here. So we are worldwide. We have Facebook user from India. Go ahead and go to that streamyard.com/Facebook so I can see your name there. Dagobah, Tony from Dagobah, fantastic. Lila from Maui, Hawaii. Norway, Ken, all the way from Norway says hello. Freddie's Place from Dallas, Texas. Kim from Arkansas. Amund from Norway. Donna from West Virginia. We are worldwide, ladies and gentlemen. Elizabeth, Donna Donati. Hey, Tom. Hey, Elizabeth. How are you? Good to have you here. Joseph from India watching from mobile, so can't access StreamYard. All right. All good. Joy. How are you doing, Joy? Good to have you here. Keith from the UK. Fantastic. All right. So we are here and we are ready to go. So let's dig back in to the content at hand. Vibhav from India. Just call me Lee. Lee, I can say Lee. Good one. I like that. Good to have you here, Lee. And Vibhav from India. Good to have you here. We are worldwide and we are excited to learn how to do exactly what I promised here. And that is to find clarity, because lack of clarity is the root of all failure. And as mentioned, I can look back at those times when I was clear on here's where I was and here's where I was going. I knew what was mine to do. And with that continuous movement forward each and every day, that small progress each and every day makes great results occur in short order. And that's exactly what we're going to do today, all circled into GrooveFunnel. So we're talking about using the two main platforms of GroovePages and GrooveSell together to help you build opt-in pages, registration pages, to grow your email list, to grow your registration list, and to grow your sales, combining GrooveSell with GroovePages. And we're going to continue this journey every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And a couple more people just joined. So we have Marquitos from home. Perfect. Great place to be, Marquitos. Karine from Quebec City. Tash from UK. Marvin, Quezon City, Philippines. All right. Good to have you here. And here we go. So now I'm going to take my screen off and we're going to dive into my left-handed chicken scratch here. And the whole point of this is to help get you that clarity, because if you don't know where you're going, it's kind of hard to get there. Does that make sense? Like nowadays in the United States, Uber is quite popular, and especially prior to the pandemic and all this stuff and all the shutdown. I'm sure in many of your countries, Uber has a presence and or some other service similar to it. And what they need to know is two things. Where are you and where are you going? That's called clarity. And that's exactly what we need to know now with your journey that we cross paths right here, right now. You need to know, where are you? So you have that starting point. I am here. Smiley face. I am here. And we want to get to there. My desired outcome. Bigger smiley face. All right, so you're here and you want to get to there. Now, there's many different ways to get there. So let's just talk geographically. I'm in South Florida. My children are in upstate New York. There's numerous ways for me to get there. Some are faster than the others. Now, I could understand that I'm here and I want to get there. And I could walk out my door and basically just head north and start walking. Eventually, one step and one day at a time, I'll get there. But it's going to be a very arduous task. It's going to be a very big commitment, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort. There are other ways. I could call an Uber. That would get me there, but it would also take a lot of time, and it would also be quite costly to have someone drive me all those states. It's about a 24-hour drive to get there. Then I could also take a bus. That's going to be a lot less expensive, but it may take a lot longer because the buses stop all along the way. I could take a train. Similarly, it's going to be a little more expensive than the bus, probably less than the Uber, but it's going to take a little more time because they stop a lot of places as well on the train. I could take a plane and could go to the airport here in Florida and fly to the one in New York. That's the fastest, that's the most optimal, and that's going to have a higher price. Not so high right now. It's actually pretty inexpensive to fly right now. If you haven't looked, go take a look. It's pretty inexpensive to fly places compared to what it was prior to the pandemic. And then there's the other option of renting a private jet, which growing up, I had no idea that was even a possibility. I thought that was for like kings and queens and, you know, people that were billionaires and things of that nature. There is that possibility. I've been on a private jet before, and they're not inexpensive, but they're not out of range for important situations. So, and nowadays they have kind of like Uber for jets, where you don't have to go buy a jet or things of that nature. You can rent them, and many times it's a lot less expensive than it used to be 10 years plus ago. So those are the different ways to get from point A to point B geographically, and you want to think about this for your business as well. And basically what I'm getting at is here that those other options that I shared, a lot of that could fall into the category, if you think about it, of outsourcing. Think about it. I could walk, I could ride a bike, I could drive my own car, which is taking it all into my responsibility and doing it, or I could tap into other things, other experts that could outsource. I could use their expertise to get me there in a much quicker fashion. So the same thing goes back to the entrepreneurial journey. If you're here as an entrepreneur, and let's just use the things that we track entrepreneurialism with, and we have this starting point anywhere from, you know, some people are just starting, they have nothing to a little bit, but the goal is to get a lot more at the destination of my desired outcome. We need to think about this in the similar manner that I shared about getting geographically from one place to the next. So let's think about it. We could do it all ourselves. And I'll hit pause. I'll hit a timeout right now to say, back when I began in the late 1999, early 2000, 2001, I believed falsely in the self-made millionaire fallacy. Self-made millionaire fallacy. You may want to write that down. I termed that what I fell victim to. I don't like to be a victim, but I tapped into some of the gurus, and I actually met with and explained this to this one right here, Brian Tracy. I'm a huge fan of Brian Tracy, but one of his catchphrases was self-made millionaire. Now, I misinterpreted it. I took it as, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Who's ever heard that? Give me a 5 in the chat if you've ever heard, if it's going to be, it's up to me. I'll continue talking and look back in the chat here in a little bit. But if you've heard that before, give me a 5 in the chat. If it's going to be, it's up to me. So that's what I thought a self-made millionaire was. And yes, we see that. So Lee, Elizabeth, Dara. All right. So you've heard that. Rodney, Lee, multiple fives. Yeah. And I fell for the self-made millionaire fallacy. And I actually told Brian this. Dean, 5. So as my results finally took off, after I gave up the self-made millionaire fallacy, here's what happened. I busted my hump for probably 5 years trying to do it all. Affiliate Resource Center, Kim, Byron, Donna, Facebook user, 5. Yes. And what happened was I realized there's only 24 hours in a day. And I also realized, as you might be able to take note of my drawing skills, I suck at graphics. I suck at many other things, but I'm good at certain things. And so what I'm getting at is it's kind of like walking. You can get there by walking if you took the self-made millionaire fallacy and try doing it all yourself. Or you could take the plane, which is outsourcing, and doing what you do well and getting the things that you don't do well or don't have any desire to learn or try to be an expert in, and find people that are good at that. If there's things that really just like I suck, literally, I have a hard time with stick figures. I'm not an artist. I have no artistic inclination. And if I try to do it, it's going to take me a huge amount of time and effort. I'm going to get frustrated, and it's still going to be very poor when it's done. Versus me giving the vision to somebody who is really good at it, they're going to get it done very quickly, and it's going to be very high quality. And yes, there may be a little transfer of funds or resourcefulness. And I'll say that. So Mr. Beal, what's up, buddy? Max Alicious, what's up, brother? Another South Florida friend here. So I'm encouraging you, just like I would not encourage myself or anyone else to say, hey, you want to go from Florida to New York? Just head out the door and start heading north. That wouldn't be the best recommendation from my perspective. Similarly, I would hope you would heed my warning and take it for what it was meant to be shared by Brian Tracy and others who talk about the self-made millionaire. Means they have the vision, but they also have the smarts to recognize I don't have to do it all. I don't want to do it all. I'm going to bring the best of the experts that I can to get things done to make my vision a reality. So the self-made millionaire, the real aspect of it, when it hit me like a smack across the face after years, I found out Brian Tracy had a team of over 40 people. And when I heard that, I'm like, wait a second. How can you be a self-made millionaire and have a team of 40 people? Self-made millionaire is, if it's going to be, it's up to me. But remember, that was my misinterpretation. And I'm hopefully sharing this and conveying this to you now to get over that and to don't go down that hamster wheel of trying, like I did, to do it all myself. Stick to the things you're good at and get others who are good at the things that you're not good at and don't have any desire to get good at. You don't have the time, dedication, or commitment to do that. Get those people to do it. We all get further together, right? So that brings the acronym TEAM. Similar to what Dara says, TEAM stands for Together Everyone Achieves More. Together Everyone Achieves More. And Keith mentions he also had many companies selling his products. I was one. Yes, exactly. So to do it all yourself in today's day and age is extremely foolish. I was foolish. I misinterpreted it, and I'm hopefully, see, here's the good thing. I've had some great successes and I've had some great lessons. Notice I don't say failures, because everything that didn't go to plan was a great lesson that I'm now able to impart that lesson to you, hopefully as a warning sign, like, hey, don't go down that road. It's a dead end. As a matter of fact, if you bust through this sign and you go over the dead end, it actually is a cliff that ends around a corner. You don't even see it. You go around a corner, next thing you know, you're going over the cliff. Don't go there, right? So I'm telling you this, and now I'm going to have a follow-up here, because you're probably, if I'm entering the conversation in your mind, you may be like I was years ago. Well, that's great. He has a team of 40 people, but he can afford it. I don't have the bankroll. I don't have the bank account to go hire these people. How can I get it done if I can't compensate and pay for these types of things. And so here is the key. All right. Resourcefulness is greater than resources. Resourcefulness is greater than resources. So there were actually people that I heard over the Groovathon share their personal stories, and I have my own personal stories. Mike has his personal stories. I have my own personal stories. Pretty much every one of the experts has their story when they're like, okay, I get it. I suck at whatever. For me, graphics and things like that. But I also don't have, the funds to go get, especially the experts in that particular arena, because their prices are out of my range right now. Like I want the champagne, but I have less than a beer budget, right? You've heard that, like living on a champagne or wanting the champagne life on a beer budget. Similarly in business, like, okay, yeah, I get it, Tom, but I don't have the funds to go hire these top experts. So copywriting, so funnel building, so the wide variety of things. I get it. But you have resourcefulness is greater than resources. So I remember on the Groovathon, when I was getting ready to go into a 3-hour session a couple weeks ago, Ricky Mitaka was just finishing up. And I knew Ricky. Ricky worked with Mike and I back in Long Island, early 2000s. And he had shared his story about, look, I knew I needed this stuff, but I didn't have the funds. So I worked out deals and we became resourceful. So basically you can have talks with people who are the experts, and you kind of can work out some deals of bartering or percentages of sales and things of that nature. It's up to you to get that creativity to think outside the box and not let any lack of resources stop you from getting to the desired outcome. Rodney, nice and very on point. Want champagne, but can only afford beer. And sometimes can't even afford beer, right? I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, in this entrepreneurial journey, call it feast or famine, but sometimes stuff doesn't go to plan. And you're like, oh crap, I was expecting that to go to plan. And now you're left having to become very resourceful and kind of like backed against the corner. And that's where some of the greatness can occur. Now, what I hope, and I'll be sharing some other things as we progress down the weeks, is there's some self-sabotage where a lot of people in their successful journey were able, when they're backed into a corner, we're able to become resourceful. We're able to have that burning desire and get clear on what their destination and desired outcome was and put a plan in place with clarity, and they would get out of it. But then they get out of their comfort zone on the other end where the results outweighed what they expected. And next thing you know, they kind of subconsciously get back to their back against the corner again. So I'm going to hopefully prevent, as the weeks unfold, a strategy to where you can keep that trajectory going and not let your comfort zone go too far above, where you continually upgrade your comfort zone. So we'll get to that down the road. Dr. Phil, juice is healthier and cheaper. Yes, exactly. Well, that comes with wisdom, right? So as we grow wiser, what we used to like transfers into better things that are better for us and things of that nature. So that's part of the process, to recognize right from the get-go. Brian Tracy and the others who talk about the term self-made millionaire are not referring to, if it's going to be, it's up to me. It's you as a self-made millionaire, first of all, saying, look, I recognize that I may not have the $1 million in the bank yet, but I have the wherewithal. I have the plan, I have the commitment, I have the dedication, I have the vision, and I have the clarity to where it's just a matter of time before I will achieve that. I am a self-made millionaire. The funds have not yet been deposited. They're on the way. So there is a big key, and this is another training. We're not going to get into it today, but there's a big key of the mental aspect of you allowing yourself to say, I am a self-made millionaire. The funds may not be there in the bank yet, but they're on the way. I'm taking the consistent actions. And just like the law of sowing and reaping shares, if I have this field, I tend to it properly. I plant the seeds, I take the weeds out, I cultivate it, I water them, I fertilize it. The seeds will produce some results if we choose that fertile field. It's the law of sowing and reaping. It's just waiting for your commitment, your consistency, your getting that clarity, which we're going to go deep in today here shortly. And you know what's yours to do, and you do it consistently. I grew up on a farm. And it wasn't like oh man, I hope this the seed, finally puts the corn up. No, it's a matter of if you do the proper work, the corn is a fantastic side byproduct. Occasionally there's a storm when it comes, but that's a rarity. And as long as you do the work consistently, it's just a matter of time. All right, so here we go. So we're going to dive deeper. All right, so this is just the framework to set up the foundation to now lead us to the clarity. And this is where you have to also understand you are at your unique point. You are different from every single other person who's on the call with us here today. You have your own unique individual journey. And so you need to be super clear on where you are and where you're looking to go. And here's how to gain that clarity. When you have that clarity, you know that you're willing and committed to roll your sleeves up and be a non-drifter, not a drifter. And this is another Napoleon Hill book. I'll look it up on my phone here. It's a good one. I listen to Audible a lot. Library. Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. So this book here, I would highly recommend you take a look at that. Outwitting the Devil. On Audible, on book. I have it in book and Audible. I listen to it a lot. But basically, he narrows it down to there's 98 out of 100 people that are drifters, which means they don't have the clarity. They don't have the passion. They don't have the burning desire to be clear on here's where I am and here's where I'm going. As Jim Rohn would say, they aren't willing to set the sail to the winds of change. One thing is certain, change is going to happen and plans aren't going to go to plan. But if we're here and we want to go there and we're in a sailboat, the winds, however the winds go, if you're a sailor who knows what you're doing, you will adjust the sail. I'm not a sailor, so I don't know the terminology, but you get what I'm saying. You adjust it accordingly to where no matter what the winds are doing, you're still not blowing off track. You're still moving forward to the desired outcome. So in the book, Outwitting the Devil, which was the last book that Napoleon Hill wrote before he passed away, he shared that 98 out of 100 people are drifters. The wind pushes them around. They may say, I'm here and I want to go here, but at the first wind, they're off track and they're not on path. Like the Wizard of Oz, they get off the yellow brick road. So you are here. And I want to tell you, you're here, you're taking the proper steps because you're here. Whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, you're the counter to that. You're the 2%, 2 out of 100 who are non-drifters. Non-drifters, you're taking consistent steps to get to that desired outcome. And part of it is understanding I don't know what I don't know, or I know that I know that I'm not good yet at this, but this one thing is going to help me get to that desired outcome much more quickly, efficiently, and effectively. So I commend you. You are now, by being here, part of the 2%, 2 out of 100 people. Because guess what? I think I'm sharing some valuable stuff with you, but guess what? 98 out of 100 people could care less. They'd rather watch, the drama on TV. They'd rather watch the drama of the elections. They'd rather get caught up in that distraction and be a drifter than put the blinders on and say, hey, guess what? There's going to be this chaos with the US election. There's going to be this chaos with this pandemic. That doesn't have anything to do with me and my goals. As far as I'm concerned, I've got to put my head down and stay focused, because if I don't, I'm going to be drifting all over the place. So you're here and you're focused. So congratulations. You're fulfilling one of the best quotes of success that I ever heard, which is from Earl Nightingale. He says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. That's a writer downer. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. What does that mean? That means if you're a high school student and you're going to class and you're doing your homework and you're taking the tests, you're a success. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're here, you're plugging into Groove Pages, Groove Cell, you're plugging into the trainings by David, you're plugging into the trainings by me and the other experts they bring to the table. You're progressively realizing this ideal. And you will see that as you sow, so shall you reap. If you take the proper steps consistently, you'll have the breakthroughs. And that means different things to different people here. So I'm gonna break it down into a couple different groups of people. You find out where you fit into the groove here. Dwight, The Strangest Secret, exactly. So Dwight posted the name of that training by Earl Nightingale. I would highly recommend you take a look at it on YouTube. Go search The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale in YouTube, and I would watch that at least once a week, once a day if you can. And this is just one of the secrets of repetition. Think of this. How many times can you sing along to the radio of the song that's on, whether it's from the song from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010, 2020, whatever. Hundreds, if not thousands of songs that if you're like most people, you never sat down to study the lyrics. You just heard it repetitively. Well, when you start listening to things like The Strangest Secret, when you start listening to the trainings that I talk about, you'll hear some recurring themes, and it's not by accident. It's to help reiterate the important foundations for you to where, like many of my clients, they now become little programmed success machines because they heard the basics enough where they remember this, and they have little inner Toms. There's the devil and the angel on the shoulder. They have little Toms in their brain reminding them about these little yet poignant difference makers. And W. Clement Stone says that it's the small hinges that move the big doors. It's these small, seemingly insignificant basics that unlock your ability to believe you have the potential for the success that lies within you, and the follow-through commitment and dedication it takes to be a non-drifter and not let the winds blow you off track, not let the distractions push you away from doing what you know is yours to do. And we're going to get into the 4 questions that will give you the clarity. And you'll have these 4 questions embedded in your mind. And it's kind of like this. You didn't know what you didn't know. Once you know it, you can look back and say, wow, yeah, I applied that in those things that I would label as success in my life without even knowing it. So now that I know it and I can proactively apply it, think of how much more I can be on track to getting from where I am to where I want to be with clarity, because you will find, and this may be one of those quotes that rings in your mind that you just hear Tom on your shoulder in your mind saying, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. Am I clear or am I unclear? If I'm unclear, that's the road to failure. What clarity can I gain right here, right now? Now, before we get into those 4 questions, I will share the breakdown that many of my mentors have shared with me. Let's say we're talking back geographically, where I'm here and I want to get there geographically, and I'm driving and it's nighttime. Obviously, it's more safe and it's more effective and efficient if I turn the headlights on. But you have to remember this. Did the headlights shine all the way to the destination? No. They shine, 20, 30 feet ahead of us. That gives us enough clarity to make the proper movements necessary to avoid any dangers and to stay on path with the amount of vision that it gives us, with the amount of clarity that it gives us. So when we get to these 4 questions that go to clarity, you don't have to be someone who overplans. You're only going to have a brief amount of foreshadowing of what lies ahead. And then you have to use the 3 things that I use in the Marine Corps. When I served in the Marine Corps, 4 years active duty, I was the #1 honor man out of the United States Marine Corps boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina. So for my platoon, we started with 82 people. We graduated with around 68, and I was the #1 honor man. Out of the 3 months that many people would call hell, that boot camp on Parris Island was, I took away these 3 things. And these 3 things pretty much go back to the plan of getting from here to there. Like in the military, the plan is take that hill, right? And you quickly assess, okay, well, here's where we are. Here's where we got to go. Let's go. And we go, but right away, especially if you ever watched the TV show, like the A-Team back in the 80s, at the end, he lights a cigar and has the saying, I love it when a plan comes together, because the plan that they laid out went all to heck, fell apart right from the get-go. Plans rarely go to plan. Newsflash. Plans rarely go to plan. So you have to use these 3 words that I learned in the Marine Corps. And you probably heard in some movies, and you may have heard if you've been with me on some other trainings. Why? Because of repetition. You need to improvise, adapt, and overcome. There's going to be problems. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be adversity. You always improvise, adapt, and overcome. But when you're clear and have the clarity that we're going to gain from these 4 questions, you'll be able to do so on the fly. You won't, and you'll be expecting challenges. You won't expect the plan to go perfectly. You'll expect challenges. And you'll be pleasantly surprised when the plan goes flawlessly. On occasion, it does. But you're like, wow, that's a rarity. Thank you. That worked out pretty cool. But most of the time, you have to improvise, adapt, and overcome on the fly. And the key is, this is ironic. You're clear on the outcome, but you're detached. You're detached from the exact route that you have to get there. Have you ever used the GPS where it initially kicks you off on a path and it's telling you turn right, turn left, blah, blah, blah. And then the path changes, whether it was due to an accident, whether it was due to road repair, whatever the circumstance is, the route changed. Well, that's your GPS improvising, adapting, and overcoming. You don't get all mad and, oh, forget that, I'm still going the same way. You have to be detached from the outcome of getting to the outcome, just willing to adapt accordingly and let it unfold as it needs to unfold. That's a little harder, a little more advanced, but we'll get there as the weeks unfold. All right. So now, Tom, enough set up. What are the 4 questions? These 4 questions, my hope is you will remember them, you will use them and implement them to help you remind yourself of the clarity, because you don't want to fall prey to that quote, which says lack of clarity is the root of all failure. The counter to that is what you are going to benefit from by utilizing these 4 questions. Clarity is the root of all success. Clarity is the root of my success. I'm clear on what's mine to do right now. And I trust my discernment as this journey unfolds to be able to ascertain and discern what's the best use of my time right now. Because it's really that. If we were to break life down, I have this analogy that I shared with my kids, and it's worthy of sharing with you before we jump into the 4 questions as well. And it's this. I believe that this is Earth and what we call life, the greatest amusement park in the universe. So we have amusement parks here on Earth, Disney World and a whole bunch of the others. I draw a blank right now, but we go to a whole bunch of them up in Orlando. And they're pretty fun. But every time my family and I go to the amusement park, at the end of the day, we fist bump and we say, did anybody have more fun than we did today? The answer is no. There's no way possible that anybody could have had more fun than we did. Why? Because we were clear. What were we clear on? This. What's next? So we planned, we were prepared for the opening. Generally, we're the first ones in the amusement park because, whether it's a day, 2 days, 3 days, or a week, it goes fast. So does this trip to the greatest amusement park in the universe. But we prepare and get there generally before the gate opens most of the time when it's allowable. And we ask ourselves, okay, where are we going first? Are we going all together to this place? Or are we breaking up and meeting somewhere else? And we get the initial plan. And then as soon as the gates open, boom, we beeline it to that first ride. And we get in line, we ride the ride. And then sometimes before the ride's over, sometimes right at the end of the ride, what are we doing next? Let's ride it again. Sometimes we ride it again. We get back in line, ride it again. Other times it's like, let's go to this other ride. Okay, great. And then we are like, okay, we're here. How do we get there? And I don't know most of the places by heart. So we begin, I think it's that way. We start walking that way. Then we ask people, hey, we're trying to get to this. We ask the people who work there, what's the fastest way to get there? Oh, turn right, turn left. Okay, great. Thanks. We get there. We ride that. Okay, what's next? Do we ride it again or we go elsewhere? Okay, what's next? We pick the destination. We find the way. We get guided there. We get there. Sorry, folks, the ride's closed. This is where we improvise, adapt, and overcome. Oh, crap. We were planning on riding this next, but we're not going to sit here. When's it going to open? We don't know. It could open soon. It could open later. It could never open for the rest of the day. We're not going to sit there and wait. We're going to improvise and go do what's next for us to do. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the entrepreneurial journey. And that's exactly this journey of life. What's next? And it's up to you to have the blinders on, to not get distracted by all the other stuff, all the other options. It's kind of like going to a buffet when you're starving. And oh boy, your eyes are bigger than your belly, right? You're filling that plate up with all sorts of stuff. And then you go sit down and you're like, you know what? I think I could do seconds. And you go back up and you go to a different part of the buffet and you find your favorite food there. Man, I didn't know they had this, but I'm already full. Shoot, I wish I'd have known. But you went to the buffet starving and you loaded your plate up with all sorts of stuff you don't really care that much about. Then you eat that down, your belly's full, and then you go back up, you turn the corner and you see your favorite food there. Too full, right? That's the buffet, right? Assess the buffet first. That's what you're doing with all these trainings and getting your hands dirty, and then dive in with clarity, with specificity, and watch how, with consistency, you're knowing what's next, and you're knowing the answer to what's the absolute best use of my time right here, right now. All right. So how do we do this? It really boils back to 4 questions. I've named them several things. One name that sticks pretty well, but I'll probably be modifying it in the near future. I call it the Quiver of Clarity. The quiver, like an arrow, a bow and arrow, has a quiver with the arrows in it. So these are the 4 arrows that you put in like Robin Hood right into the bullseye. These help give you that clarity, the Quiver of Clarity with these 4 questions. And these 4 questions will be something that hopefully ring in your mind at least once a quarter. So how often do you do these 4 questions? At least once a quarter, sometimes sooner if you've accomplished certain things. We're going to get into them. And now, as I say this, how can I frame it? This is a $25,000 training. How can I say that? Myself and one other person hosted a $25,000 mastermind in the island of Tenerife, in the Canary Islands outside of Spain. And there were 12 buying units, 12 buyers at 25,000 euro each. When we trained this on day number 1 of a week-long training that they invested 25,000 euro, at the end of this training, we asked those 12 people who invested 25,000 euro, which is around the time was around 30,000 US dollars. If this was all we trained this week, who thinks this would be worth your investment? All the hands went up. All the hands went up. So think about this. These are people that are entrepreneurs that have had success where they can invest the 25,000 euro, roughly $30,000, to be in Tenerife for a week with me and one other trainer. We trained these 4 questions. I will say this, time out. We went for a few more hours. We went through some of the work that I'm going to share with you that's now going to be on your time. You got to take the homework and go do it. But we worked them through the homework that explained these 4 questions. And they thought this was worth the 25,000 euro in and of itself. So give me a 1 if you're ready. Give me a 1 if you're ready. Lee, wow, that's amazing, Mr. Beal. Thank you. Focus, that's it. Good stuff. Dean, Hitchhiker's Guide. Yeah, I like it. I like that analogy. Perfect. Earl, starts my day every day. Joy, awesome. Very good. Awesome training, The Strange Secret. Yes. All right. So good. All right. So everybody's here. You're ready. Dwight, David, Mark, here are the 4 questions. Veronica, Facebook user, Rodney, you're all here. You're all with me. Congratulations. Dara, 1, and I know the questions. Yes, you know the questions, and that's the great part. 1 billion, Dr. Phil, love it. Marvin, Verdine, Lux, Facebook user, Mark, Ken, Stanislaw. All right, good. You're all here. And here's the great part. If you've heard these before, it's always a great reminder because I want these to be resonating in your mind. I have clients that literally will text me. And these are clients that have invested, $3,000 a month for 5 years, or, huge amounts of investment of time with me that are like, I have a Tom in my brain. All right, it's time for me to go back to the 4 questions to get that clarity. So here's the Quiver of Clarity first question. First question, and first person who hears it and can type it down, who's a fast typer / typist, type it in the chat so all can see it. What do I need to start doing? First question, what do I need to start doing? Now, as I ask that, what do I need to start doing? I'm going to tell you the answer is only one thing. And we're going to talk about how to get that one answer. So here's the deal. This is where some homework comes into play. What do I need to start doing? There it is. Elizabeth just posted it there. Perfect. Thank you. What do I need to start doing? It's only one answer for each of you. And each of you is going to have a different answer because each of you are at a different starting point. And here's what it boils down to. The one answer to that first question of what do I need to start doing is not something that's going to get you a little bit more of results. I'm just going to start doing this. This is something, as the question states, something you're not already doing, but has the potential to 10x your results. So if you're at a $100,000 business per year, this one thing that you're not doing has the potential to bring you to $1 million business. If you're at $1 million business level per year, this one thing that you're not doing has the potential to bring you to $10 million, et cetera, et cetera. If you're at $50,000 per year business, this one thing has the ability or possibility to bring you to $500,000 in results. So you have to ask yourself, what is the one thing that I'm currently not doing that has the potential to 10x my results? Obviously, you can't work 10 times harder. So here are some examples. So for some people, that one thing is, you know what? It's time for me to start writing a book. Other example, it's time for me to start creating a webinar. Another example, it's time for me to start doing a live event. Now, live event in this unique times, we take the live events that used to be in person. Let's just use Tony Robbins as an example. I've been to his Unleash the Power Within. I've been with his Date with Destiny. I was in his Platinum Mastermind, went to Fiji, his island in Namali with Mike Filsame. Mike Filsame and I went to Namali in Fiji and spent a week there. And he does great live events. But in this unique time, he improvised, adapted, and overcame and built a studio, invested hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment to build this studio. You've probably seen it with all the TV screens. Looks like that scene in The Matrix when Neo went to meet the architect, all the screens, and he can see thousands of attendees from their homes while he's in his own unique area delivering Unleash the Power Within and other events virtually, right? So live events may be something for you. Adding a sales team may be something that you're currently not doing, right? There's endless possibilities of what's the one thing that I'm not doing right now for my business that has the potential to 10x my results. Give me a 5 if you got that and you understand that. Give me a 5 in the chat if you got that and you understand that. If you have a question on that, post your question. Crit, CC's, yep. Mike, powerful, yes. And this, ladies and gentlemen, our life and our results is a direct representation of the questions that we're asking ourselves. So asking these 4 questions will help your mind find you the answer. And that one question right away hopefully opens your eyes up to say, you know what, this is the one thing that, for whatever reason, we've been procrastinating about it, we've been putting it off, but we know this is now ours to do right here, right now. And guess what? This is the perfect timing. So ask that question. What are we currently not doing that has the potential to 10x our results? Is it writing a book? Is it doing a webinar, a live webinar? Is it creating an evergreen webinar? Is it creating a live event? Is it creating an infomercial? For some people, that's what can 10x their business. Is it getting on talk shows live, like Good Morning America? Or is it getting on the Home Shopping Network or something? It's different for everybody. But what's that one thing for you that you're currently not doing that has the potential to 10x your business? Now, if you're brand new and you're like, well, 10xing 0 is still 0, right? So the answer, what do I need to start doing if you have 0, is to create something that has an offer. I need to create an offer. What is my offer? So what do I need to start doing? If you're at 0, the answer to that, what do I need to start doing, is create an offer where people can see the offer and choose to invest or not. And hopefully you use the methods of influence and persuasion to help them lean towards the yes, I want to invest in this. So that's the answer. I see lots of 5s. Awesome. Deborah, great question. Is it specific or more general? This is absolutely specific. This is the one thing. So here are some others. I'll remind you with those examples. So the first question is, what do I need to start? What do I need to start doing? And the answer, and it goes into more depth, what's the one thing that I'm currently not doing that has the potential to 10x my business, specifically like writing a book? It's time, a book will help 10x my results. And then obviously, well, Tom, I can't immediately jump into writing a book. Well, you now schedule, I'm going to say this, you schedule now an hour per week into your calendar, because things that are important to you and I go in our little devices here that are our calendar, and treat it as the most important appointment of your week. You schedule it in and you make it a recurring appointment, and you don't skip out on it. You do it. And the appointment is, this has a potential to 10x your business. Would you agree that's an important thing? Absolutely. So it's not going to happen magically. We don't have little elves that come in and make it happen. You have to get the vision created. And once again, we can go to outsourcing. You don't have to do it all, but you have to be the self-made millionaire who crafts the vision and gets the ball rolling. So you schedule that hour, and it can be partly, so if creating a webinar is on your what do I need to start doing list, that has a potential to 10x my results. You schedule in an hour a week, and you dedicate that hour to learning, okay, how do I craft a webinar? What are the steps that I take to determine what's my webinar about? What's going to be my offer at the end? How do I make the webinar flow from, how do I keep the registration page? All that stuff. You schedule that hour and you work it out. That's what you start doing once a quarter. All right, now we get into some cool things. So your homework part 1 is break out a list, a blank sheet of paper, and write a list, or what are some possible things that could 10x my business? And write those out. And then narrow them down to the one that's the answer to what do I need to start doing. All right, so now we move on to question number 2. Question number 2, what do I need to do more of? What do I need to do more of? Someone type that in there. Deborah, thanks, I understand. Good, glad that was good clarification. Facebook user Tom, do you have a book? No, if you go to tombeal.com, it brings you to my YouTube channel, and you can see lots of great value there and plug into some of the different trainings that I have. What do I need to do more of? Taps into the Pareto principle. And you may have heard it as the 80-20 principle. 20% of your activities produce 80% of your results. You may have seen the training, which I think is brilliant. Like, whoever put that training together, it really was an eye-opener for me ages ago. In the late 80s, early 90s, I saw it. And the training was the large pickle jars that had the big rocks, the smaller rocks, the pebbles, the sand, and the water. You remember that? Type a 5 in the chat if you remember that. The pickle jar experience. And as it goes, a lot of people are busy putting the little pebbles into the pickle jar, the sand activities in the pickle jar, the water into the pickle jar, the medium rocks, but then are skipping the big rocks. And when you try to put the big rocks in at the end, it doesn't fit. And I see, yep, everybody. Elizabeth, I love that. Staines Law, yes. Deborah, yes. Karen, Janine, Karen, Veronica, yeah. It's a popular training. But this is now a reminder to you that this is human nature, ladies and gentlemen. It's called busy work. It's called, the Pareto principle is real. Most of us spend, we don't focus mostly on the 20% of activities that produce 80% of results. Most of the time, people are putting 80% of their activities into the things that only produce 20% of the results. Busy work, non-essential work, things that are not the answer to, is this the best use of my time at this particular moment? That will not be the case once we leave these 4 questions and you go through this homework. So what we're going to do is find what is your, as Dan Sullivan calls it, Dan Sullivan, one of the most premier business coaches in the world, your unique abilities. These are the things that you can't outsource, you can't delegate. These are the things that are yours to do, your power. This is the answer to the best use of your time, energy, and effort. I remember doing that jar pebble thing when I was a kid. It's a very powerful thing, and I'm glad to remind you of this because this is what question 2 and question 3 summarize. Question 2 is, what do I need to do more of? We're basically finding the big rocks. There's 3, maybe 4 big rocks, but what happens is most people get caught up in all the littler things, the distractions, and they miss the big rocks, but not you anymore once we go through this program. So here's how you do it. Here's the homework assignment. Pay close attention to this. You take another blank sheet of paper and related to your business, you write down everything that you do related to your business, every activity you do in a given month. You write that down on a piece of paper. And now, Jim Rohn says this, things that are easy to do are easier not to do. This is easy to do, but it's easier not to do. I'm going to encourage you to do this step. There's a multifold benefit for you when you do this. And by the way, I'm going to also share, when you're writing that list of things that you do every month related to your business, you personally, the things that you do to, everything that you do for your business, even the minimum wage activities, especially the minimum wage activities, the things that you were like, yeah, I drive to the post office, I go to Office Depot, or all the things you do related to your business. Write that down on a sheet of paper. Now, and here's what this is going to do. Right away, as you're writing these down, you're going to come to a couple aha moments. Why am I doing this? Because you'll recognize minimum wage activities. This is not the best use of my time. And yes, I do it like clockwork. I do it each week. I do it every month. I do it every day in some cases. Why? So that's going to be a big epiphany. But most importantly, we're going to get to the answer to the question number 2. What do I need to do more of? And here's how we do this. So after you complete, well, actually, first, let me ask you this. Give me a 7 if you're committing to following through with the homework from today's assignment. If you're committing to writing down everything that you do in a given month related to your business. Give me a 7 in the chat if you're committing to doing that. And my hope is everybody here commits to themselves to do this, because it's not hard. It's actually easy, but it's easier not to do. And if you don't do it, you're not going to reap the benefits. All right. So I see Elizabeth. Yes. Deborah. Yes. Dwight, Veronica, Janine. Okay. Awesome. Good stuff. All right. CC's, Rodney, D. All right. Good. They're rolling in. Good. Lee, Christian, Jamil, Kara, Jamil. Awesome. Okay. So y'all are committed. Congratulations. And here's how once again, you take that blank sheet of paper and you write down everything that you do in a given month related to your business. All the things, especially the minimum wage activities. And now here's the deal. Once it's all done, you sit back and answer this question. If I'm only allowed to do one activity that would keep the business going and growing on that entire list of things that I do every month, what's the one thing? If I'm not allowed to do anything else, what's the one thing on that list that I would do this upcoming month and would not be allowed to do anything else? And time out. You are going to be allowed to do some other stuff, but just play with me on this. In essence, what you're doing is you're finding your biggest rock. You're finding the answer to what's the absolute best use of your time. You're finding your unique abilities by answering this question. So you assess and you look at that whole list and you say, wow, okay, if I'm only allowed to do one activity that's going to keep the business going and growing, what is it? And for many people, that's offer creation, right? That's, whatever the client getting activity is for you, that generally in many cases is, creating a new offer or, whatever it is that can help your business go and grow. But it's up to you to discern what that one thing is on that sheet of paper. Well, Tom, it's hard. Yeah, it can be a little hard, but you have to just go with it and go with your gut, looking at that sheet, saying, okay, what is, if I'm only allowed to do one thing on this list, the one thing that would keep my business going and growing, and pick it and follow your gut and pick it. And then the good news is you don't get to stop with just one. You get a second thing. So what's your second thing that on that list would, if you're only allowed to do those 2 things in the upcoming month, what are the 2 things that would keep your business going and growing? And then you get a third one. So 3 things. You pick the 3 things on that entire list that these are the 3 things that will, allow your business to keep going and growing. And there's only 3 things that you're allowed to focus on at this particular point. What you've just done, congratulations, when you finish this homework, is you've now deciphered what the most important activities are for you to conduct in your business. And what you've deciphered is the 20-80 principle. These 20% of activities are going to produce the 80% of results for you. These are your big rocks. Now, similar to what we talked about with the answer of question 1, what do I need to start doing? When you narrow it down to that one thing that you knew has a potential to 10x your business and results, you schedule it into your calendar on a weekly recurring basis. Now that you have these 3 activities, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to break out your phone and you're going to schedule them in. So now you got the 3 activities that are your big rocks. These are the 20% activities that are going to produce 80% of your results. You've got the 1 hour from the answer to what do I need to start doing? So you got 4 hours total in this week that has 1 hour is put towards the thing that you've discerned has a potential to 10x your business. You think that's important? Yes. That's a hypothetical question. You've picked the 3 things that are the highest and best use of your time. You think they're important? Another hypothetical question. The answer is yes. You schedule them in as if you're the most important client meeting you have all week. You got 4 hours scheduled. What you're going to find is with a couple weeks of consistency, you're going to say, holy crap, this works. Because when you actually give attention to these 20% activities that produce 80% results, you're going to notice you're working less, but you're growing more. It's a weird thing in this workaholic, pound your chest on how hard you work type of age, to recognize the less amount of time I work, the more I grow, because I'm now focused with clarity on the best use of my time activities, my unique abilities, the 20% of activities that are going to produce 80% for my business. And I'm not going to get all caught up with the 80% activities that only produce 20% of the results. Who feels good about what I just said right now? Give me a 3 if you are feeling good about this process so far. Give me a 3 in the chat if you're feeling this is some, now you know why. If you know why people said this was worth the 25,000 euro, you know why. Give me a 3 in the chat. I'll wait. All right, Elizabeth, 3. I'll wait. Give me a 3. And I it's pretty much a hypothetical. I think y'all are getting it. Veronica, Rodney, Elizabeth. All right. Lee, 333. I like it. Sue, Veronica, Cece, CeeLo, Marvin, Coach Ryan. All right. Good. All right. They're rolling in. Dean, Ken, Kim, Christian, Deborah, Kara, Dara, Jamil, Keith. Okay, good. Y'all are with me. This is game-changing stuff. This literally is no joke. All hands went up, 25,000 euro. This was worth it. And this can be worth it for you. But the differential is you have to do the work. Like I said, we did the work at the table at that particular week-long retreat. But you have to do the work. You have to do the work to discern question number 1. What are the things that have the potential to 10x my business? Narrow it down to the 1. Remember, I didn't say pick 2, 3, 4, 1. It's hard enough to get one of them in motion. Nonetheless, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't get crazy. 1 at a time. And remember, this is on a quarterly basis, because once you start doing it and you got it in motion, guess what? A quarter from now, 3 months from now, what now do we need to start doing? Now you're going to be 10xing, and maybe it doesn't 10x. It only doubled your business. It only doubled my business. Good things, right? Good things. Now you're handling the big rocks. You've gone through the process of question number 2. What do I need to do more of? You've done the work and you've taken that sheet of paper. And there's some magic of taking a pen to paper, by the way. Notice how I said pen to paper. I know a lot of you are like, well, Tom, can I type it? You can, but there's been proof. There's some connection magically with your hand and paper. I would recommend you write it, all the things you do in a given month related to your business. Then go the question deeper of, okay, if I'm only allowed to do one thing, what's that one thing? That's your most important activity. You've already scheduled the first one. What do I need to start doing into your calendar? That's 1 hour per week. Then you pick the first one, the second one, and the third one, the 3 things that are the absolute best use of your time. Maybe a 4th, because I know there's a lot of high performers here. Well, Tom, I can't narrow it down to just 3. All right, I'll give you a 4th, but 3 to 4 max. 3 to 4 max of the things you need to do more of. And you schedule them into your calendar and you stick to the appointments. Now, I'm going to say there was a time when I had recurring appointments and I would blow myself off. And now let me just tell you something. If you and I schedule an appointment, I'm going to be there. I'm not tardy. If I'm tardy, something's up. You need to call and make sure everything's all right, because I'm not tardy. I'm there. And yeah, sometimes the internet goes down or whatever, or the power goes out. Something happened, but I'm there. If you and I set an appointment, I'm going to be there. Yet the easiest person for me to blow off, who I would never blow off anybody back in the day, was me. I would schedule something with myself and I would blow off an appointment with myself when I already predetermined that these were important issues that I dedicated time to. And yet I wouldn't miss an appointment with anybody, but I would miss an appointment with me. How ridiculous is that? I since gained some wisdom, deleted all those things, because guess what also comes along with that? Burden of like, I'm not doing what's mine to do. And then now you're just feeling, I felt I was neglecting the things that I knew were mine to do. And I don't neglect things, right? I put the time and effort into the things that I prioritize. So I was not being congruent with who I am. So I would encourage you, mini lesson in and of this, don't schedule them if you're not going to commit to being there. Whoever you're like, picture you're scheduling it, that hour of what I need to start doing with me. Picture you're scheduling the 3 things to 4 things that you're doing more of with me. Would you blow me off? Hopefully not. Because guess what? If someone blows me off, unless they have a really good excuse, we're not having another appointment. Make that your commitment to yourself. Stop putting yourself behind everybody else. Hopefully that mini lesson in and of itself. That took me a lot of time. But now, don't put it into your calendar unless you're committing. I'm going to be there and I'm going to be focused. This doesn't mean being there and yeah, I'm doing it and searching on Facebook and searching on YouTube and doing all the nonsense. No, this means laser focus. Turn off all the distractions. You're putting the time and effort into those 3 to 4 things you need to do more of. And you're putting the time and effort into the one thing that has the potential to 10x your business. And you too, like many of my clients, will recognize, holy crap, this works. What you give attention to grows. You're now giving attention to the most important activities that can grow your business. And what you're going to see is your business is going to grow. Your results are going to grow. Your confidence is going to grow. Your clarity is going to grow. And you're going to recognize, holy crap, I'm capable of putting the blinders on and making stuff happen. I'm excited for y'all. I'm excited. All right. So now we get to question number 3. Question number 3 is a follow-up to all of the first 2 that we talked about. But the question number 3 is, what do I need to do less of? What do I need to do less of? Whoever writes that in, type it in to the chat there. What do I need to do less of? Jamil, brilliant. 3, amazing. 3, Mubin. It's all about blocking out the noise and focus on what matters. Absolutely, Mike, 100%. Keep your promises to others and keep your promise to yourself. 100%, Keith. Elizabeth typed it in there. Elizabeth, I like the fast action there. That's good. What do I need to do less of? All right. So what does this mean? You're going to love the answer to this. Remember that list where you wrote everything that you do in a given month related to your business, and then you picked the 3, maybe 4 things that were the answer to what do I need to do more of, the most important activities? Well, what you need to do less of, lean in closer, listen to this. Everything else that's on that list. This should be a big relief. And also it might add some anxiety to some people, which I'll address here in a second. So the answer to what do I need to do less of is everything else on that list. Exactly, Coach Ryan, the 80% tasks that only produce the 20% results. Now, I'm going to enter some conversations in your mind. Possibly. Deborah liked my sense of humor. I hope others, I laugh at myself a lot. Hopefully I can make you laugh on occasion. So the great part about this is you now recognize, you now have this focus when you're asking yourself, for a while I had something on my screen that was a sticky note. Is this the best use of my time right now? Basically, is what I'm doing right now the best use of my time? That's a question. If you continually ask yourself this, is what I'm doing right now the absolute best use of my time? If the answer is yes, keep doing it. If the answer is no, what would be the best use of my time? Well, it would be, if you have time, you've already scheduled the hour for what do I need to start doing. You already scheduled the hours for the 3 to 4 tasks that you need to do more of. And you're recognizing those 20% activities as you do them consistently produce 80% of the results. I'm working less and achieving more. And you recognize, what do I need to do less of? Everything else on that list. You aren't going to be distracted by the 80% activities that only produce 20% of the results. But I will say this, Rodney, you're very funny and entertaining. Good. And hopefully valuable as well. Hopefully this is valuable information for you, Rodney, as well. Funny, entertaining. What do they call that? Edutainment, right? Hopefully the edutainment aspects there. But the core, the meat of this, I want you to gain that 25,000 euro value that this has. This has, like, you could be at 0. Applying this with clarity could get you to 50,000, could get you to 100,000, could get you at multiple hundreds of thousands, millions with that clarity. And that's my hope for you. Dara, very valuable. Good. All right. Indeed, very much so. Yes, Rodney, awesome. Appreciate it. So what do I need to do less of? Here's the reality. This stuff, and this is something, if this is going on in your head, you're not alone. It was in my head. It's in everybody's head. Well, it still needs to get done. Yes, it does. But when you have this clarity, it's kind of like an empowerment thing where I know what's the best use of my time. And you're going to become not just scheduling an hour here, an hour there. When you have extra time, you're going to go back to the thing that you need to start doing and back to the things you need to do more of, and not distracted by the things you need to do less of. However, when you choose to do them, here's the key. When you choose to do them, recognizing that they're not the best use of your time, you need to do less of these. When you choose to do them, you create a process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You create a checklist that you're now able to impart, delegate, outsource, and get done by someone else following your guidance that you created when you chose to do it. Because if it's not the best use of your time, and it is the 20% of activity that only, or I'm sorry, the 80% of activity that only produces 20% of results, if and when you choose to do it, you're going to do it in a manner, this is the last time I do it. I'm going to create a checklist and a flow and a process that I can outsource and delegate to get it done, but not by me. And then sometimes systems can be created, or mechanisms of automation. There's things like that I recognize I was putting my time and energy into this. It doesn't require me to do this anymore. I'm going to get it done, but not by me. Boom. I hear some brain waves connecting here. I hear people's epiphanies occurring through the internets as we speak here now. So remember this. When you now see these activities and you say, okay, I recognize this is I need to do less of this, but I'm going to schedule this in. I'm going to do this. When I do it, it's going to take a little bit longer to do than it normally would, because while I'm doing it, I'm going to create a process, a checklist, a flow that either someone else can do or I can automate or systemize to where it's delegated, automated, processed, to where it still gets done, but not by me. Who's loving this right now? Who's loving this? Give me a 5 in the chat if you're loving this. Dr. Phil, be accountable to the 20%. Right. You have to hold yourself accountable. Right. We're getting to the goal. And the key is to not walk there, right? We want to get there in the most resourceful manner possible. And with these 4 questions, what do I need to start doing? The one thing that has a potential to 10x my business. What do I need to do more of? The 3 to 4 things max that are the absolute best use of my time. What do I need to do less of? Everything else on that list of things that I did on an everyday month or every month. All right, so good. Loving it here. Tillman, thank you. You're welcome. Indeed, very much. Okay, Coach Ryan, C, Facebook user 5, Janine, Deborah, Tillman, Marvin, Rodney, Elizabeth, Christian, Facebook user, amazing. Dean, loving it. Awesome. Freddie, yes. Facebook user 5, awesome. Cool. So we are on the right track. So we now have covered 3 of 4. We're moving into turn 4. 4th question. Now this question has some freeing aspects to it as well, and some stories that go along with it. So the 4th question is this: what do I need to stop doing altogether? Someone type that in. What do I need to stop doing altogether? So when you wrote down that list of everything that you did in a given month, there's going to be some minimum wage activities on there. There's going to be the 3 to 4 things that you pick that you need to do more of. There's going to be everything else that you need to do less of, but there's going to be a few things on there that as you wrote it down, and that's why I said there's multiple benefits to writing it down with pen. There's going to be some things as you write them that are like the movie, I think it's Office Space, where the TPS report. Remember, like the TPS report, hey, can you get the TPS report? And the guy's like, the TPS report is meaningless. Like, it's stupid. Why do I have to do this TPS report? Nobody uses it. It's just a time waster. And guess what? There's some things in all of our businesses that we've been doing things for months, sometimes years, sometimes decades, that when we write it down, we're kind of looking like, does that even serve a purpose anymore? Like, I remember that when we started doing that because at the time it made sense and had a purpose, but really it needs to stop. Like, it's just time wasted. So that's part of the answer to what do I need to stop doing altogether. The things that you wrote on that list that are like the TPS report in that movie Office Space. I think that was that movie where the guy got all chill and, it was pretty funny. It's a funny movie. But they had that TPS report that was pointless and useless, but they always wanted it, and it was just a drag on him. What are the things that maybe in your business you've been doing, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, but just its time has come? I don't know why we still do that. Those are part of what you need to stop doing altogether. But there's more to it. I work with many well-known, respected multimillionaires. And the bottom line is we live in a distraction age. We live in an addiction age. And I'm holding this up because back when I was growing up, addictions pretty much were alcohol, drugs, women, promiscuity, whatever, gambling. Right now, addictions in this phone alone is thousands. The phone itself is an addiction. So one story. So I had this successful client, remain unnamed. And it was just boggling my mind as to, why weren't the things that we were discussing getting done? And I was like, wait, fill me in. What am I missing here? Like, what's going on? Like, and you don't know. Like, I go into these without any judgment, and I tell them, look, look, do you have a mistress? Do you have a drug addiction? Do you have whatever, a porn addiction? Like I've seen the gamut, and no one is immune from the addiction. Some people, it's, you name it. It can be Facebook. It can be YouTube. It could be email. A wide variety of addictions. The phone itself. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I haven't told anybody. It's kind of embarrassing, and it's costing me my results in my business. It's costing my relationship with my family. And he shared that he had an addiction to a video game. And I'm not saying it with any smile, with any joking manner. And he's not the only one. I have other clients that have had video game addictions that were taking their $1 million results, their highly successful business, their successful relationships, and putting them all in the toilet over a video game. And, and other addictions, like, yes, the other ones are still there. The alcohol, the drugs, the promiscuity, the porn, you name it, all that stuff's still there. But this day and age, we are in the age of addiction. And that goes out to YouTube, that goes out to Facebook, that goes out to all the social media channels. What's your Achilles heel per se? Where do you, in a non-judgmental fashion, but you looking yourself in the mirror, where am I wasting my time instead of investing my time? Am I spending too much time on Facebook? Am I spending too much time searching YouTube videos? Am I spending too much time watching Netflix videos? Like, that's something that you need to come to terms with. Facebook user, Tom, you're the real deal. Thank you. Post your name in here and where you're from. I appreciate that comment. Mike says here, the average person spends more than 3 hours on their phone and then wonder why they have no time to accomplish their goals. 100%. And here's a math. We'll go through a math process here. You mentioned 3 hours, the average person, 3 hours. And some people would say 3 hours, that's nothing. I watch, some people, I watch 2 movies on Netflix and, hours on YouTube. It could be 5, 8 hours a day. Some people, it's crazy. Lee, I admit watching too much Netflix, right? And it's up to each of us to assess. And this is not a right, wrong, judgmental type of thing. This is up to you to tap into, what am I truly capable of? And here's the analogy. You're either investing your time or wasting your time. And I say that purposefully by the word invest, because invest we associate with money, right? You're either investing your money or wasting your money. Well, time, who's heard that time is your most precious and ever fleeting asset? And if you haven't heard it in a while, allow me to remind you, time is your most precious and ever fleeting asset. And if you look at all the social media companies, including Netflix, they're billion-dollar companies. Why? Because they're getting millions of people's most precious asset of time. They're getting people's attention. The more you can get people's attention, the more you become that highly valuable company. So it is literally our most precious asset. And the more these video games can suck us in, the more all the other things we talked about can suck us in, the more their company grows, because they're getting our most precious asset. So here, Dr. Phil, my jaw just still dropped. Epiphany bombs, right? Playing online poker, Marvin, right? I mean, it's an ever expanding abyss. Each of us have something that at this moment is pulling more of our time than we probably would want. And we're wasting that time versus investing it. It's kind of like if we're driving down the road and you just take out your wallet and start throwing money out the window. Yeah, that's crazy. Why would I do that? Well, why are you throwing time out the window? Use your intentionality. with this clarity, these 4 questions are now going to get you back to focus, hopefully build that burning desire to say, you know what, I'm going to choose to get that out of my life. And right now, maybe I don't have the wherewithal to stop doing it altogether, but I'm going to do less of it. Guess what? Less is better than the current status for many of us. But some can just go cold turkey. You know what? That's not serving me anymore. I'm done with it. Until I reach this certain milestone, I'm not messing around with that nonsense. I'm plugging in. I'm rolling my sleeves up. I'm giving my time and attention to the things I need to start doing and the things I need to do more of. And when I do the things I need to do less of, I'm going to write a system, a process, and a checklist, a flow, so where I can get it done, but not by me. And then I can continue to assess what else do I need to cut out altogether. I become very choosy where I invest my time. And I become very aware of where I'm wasting my time, and I cut that crap off. There comes a point when we all have that moment of enough's enough. Like, it's time to step up. So someone mentioned 3 hours. Let's do a little example here. So 30 minutes a day. Let's say we do 30 minutes a day times 365. 30 minutes a day times 365 days in a year is 10,950. 10,950 divided by a 40-hour work week. Wait. Divided by 52. 52 weeks in a year equals 210.5 divided by 40-hour work week. So we were divided by 52. That's 5.26 work weeks at 30 minutes a day. For some reason, that normally doesn't work. 30 times 365 equals 10,950 hours in the whole. Divided by 12. Divided by 12 months. No. I'm messing it up. It usually comes out to like 4.5 work weeks. 30 minutes a day is 4.5 work weeks. I'm messing up the math somehow, but 30 minutes a day times 365 is a certain amount. You divide that by, that's hours. Maybe there's 40. 10,950 divided by 40. No. My mind is not in the math mode right now, but 30 minutes a day wasted on your phone, swiping around. The math works out to that's like 4.5 work weeks, 40-hour work weeks, 4.5 a year. So an hour a day is 9 40-hour work weeks per year. It's mind-boggling when we go down that. I'm not sure. I did it on my YouTube channel. If you go to tombeal.com, it brings in my YouTube channel, and I share the math there. For some reason, my mind is out of math mode right now, but it's just 180 hours, 40. Yes, 4.5 work weeks, 40-hour work weeks with 30 minutes a day. And what that means is, if it's an hour, that's 9 40-hour work weeks. If it's 2 hours, that's 18 40-hour work weeks. It's crazy. And that's up to us to discern. Am I using my time? Am I investing my time? Or am I wasting my time? So super powerful. So we went through the 4 questions. Question number 1, what do I need to start doing? The thing that has the potential to 10x my results. Only one thing. So you write, the first part of the homework, you write down all the things that have that potential, and you narrow it down to the one that you feel is yours to do now. That could be, like we said, writing a book, creating a webinar. That could be creating a live event. That could be creating an infomercial. That could be a million different things. You need to ask yourself what's yours to do. If you're just starting, remember, it's creating an offer. What do I need to do more of? The 3 to 4 things that are the 20% activities that produce the 80% results. Of all the things you do in a given month, you narrow it down to these are the 3 things. If I was only allowed to do them, that would allow my business to keep going and growing. What do I need to do less of? Everything else on that list. And when I choose to do those things, I'm going to create a process. I'm going to create a system. I'm going to create a checklist that can be delegated, outsourced, or systemized so that it still gets done, but not by me. And then the 4th question. The 4th question is, what do I need to stop doing altogether? Sometimes on that list that you wrote out, there's going to be some things you do that its time is done. Like, I don't know why we still do it, but I'm no longer going to do it. And then other times it's to assess your personal use of your most precious and ever fleeting asset, time, and determine and discern enough is enough. So I'm coming up in February, will be 3 years that I just decided no more alcohol. Like, and not that I was going off the rails and going super nuts about it, but I did have times when I didn't feel as productive. I didn't feel like waking up with a lagging headache or just feeling not on point. And so I said, you know what, I'm done with it. And guess what? I went, when I do things, I go all in. I don't half-ass anything. So when I did it, I did it. And, you know, I was in the Marine Corps and all this other stuff. So I've got the war stories and all that, but enough was enough. And I've had certain years where I stopped for a year here and a year there. But 3 years ago, almost February, I stopped it and didn't look back. And other things I've cut out. So I had a time when I was traveling with my kids, and we used to play Plants vs. Zombies, and we used to play this little airplane landing game. I don't remember the name of it. And Angry Birds. And so they would have it on their iPhones, and I had it on my iPhone. So we'd be traveling together, and I'd be playing it. We'd be passing it around, having fun. Then I'm traveling without my kids. And this is going back 2007, 2008. And I found myself on one flight. I played stupid games most of the whole flight. And when I got to the destination, I'm like, I just wasted that whole flight. Instead of reading a book, instead of doing some writing, I wasted in this pointless game. I deleted all the games off my phone and haven't had games on my phone since. And these are just my personal decisions. It's up to you to discern, where am I going to invest my time versus waste? Now, there are times when, you know what, what's the best use of my time right now is to go play, go disengage and go play. That's perfect. I'm not saying to be a workaholic. And let me just put the parameters on this. There were times when I went through that question where these 4 questions come into play. What do I need to start doing? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? What do I need to stop doing? And we went through all intricacies of that, all boiled back to, at every moment in the day, is what I'm doing right now the absolute best use of my time? If the answer is yes, keep doing it. If the answer is no, what would that be? Now, I used to think that answer always had to be revenue producing activities. And that's when I was in workaholic mode. Well, when you get into workaholic mode, your health can suffer, your relationships can suffer. So you evolve and you become wise to say, you know what, the best thing that I could do right now is to shut this all down and go for a walk. Shut this all down and go play with my kids. Shut this all down and go play with my significant other. Right? That's on the table. It's up to you to discern and work this life balance into play. That's just another lesson that I'll throw out there. There we go. So, I am sweating. This light here has me sweating. I hope y'all appreciated the post Groupathon knowledge. We didn't get into next week. We're going to dive into actually Groove funnels and get into Groove pages and Groove sell. But while we're here, I can just show you this. So when you log in, actually, let me go to StreamYard and have you access this so I can show you. So we'll go to this real quickly. We aren't going to dive into the training today. I felt this was important for you to get your grounding after the Groupathon to help give you some clarity. And if you go back and watch those trainings, keep in mind, you're either investing your time or wasting your time. When you're there, you need to pick out what is going to be helpful for me right here, right now, and what can help me answer and implement things that are on my what do I need to start doing list, the one thing, and what do I need to do more of. Those are the key activities for you right here, right now, the 20% of activities that can produce 80% of the results. Some of the stuff may be some trainings that I'll show you here in a second, but basically when you log into GrooveFunnels, you just go to app.groovefunnels.com. If you haven't upgraded yet, I would encourage you to go click and check what's in the upgrade. If you have upgrade, or whether you're free or upgraded, you can click on Groove Pages and Groove Sell, Groove Affiliate, all the things that you have available to you over on the left. We're going to get into more of the in-depth stuff inside here starting next week. But in the interim, not only did you have all the trainings inside of Groupathon, but we also have GrooveDigitalAcademy.com. If you haven't gone here yet, go here, create your free account. Just use the same email address that you use to log into your Groove Funnels. And when you log in, you're now going to be able to access the trainings in here. So all this training will be in here eventually, as well as all the other trainings. So you go to Groove Funnels trainings, and when you go here, you're going to have some quick help, some onboarding series, some Groove video search. That's where you can go for search for copywriting, search for landing page, webinar, all these different topics. The webinar replays on demand. That's where you would go to access the previous trainings. A whole bunch of them are here waiting for you to dig into. And then you also have how to publish your site, website building, integrations, Groove Sell, product funnels, products tutorials, Groove Mail, coming soon, Groove Affiliate, affiliate tips, walkthrough, Groove Partner Program, Groove Pages for affiliate marketing, Groove Funnels promotion tools, Groove Pages custom domain, and Lemonade, live Q&A sessions, live builds with David Lemon, tutorials, Groove Pages show and tell site reviews. So all of this is inside here. We're going to continue. This is part one of a numerous part process that we're going to bring you from point A to point Z, which is the finish line. I think from the comments here, y'all got this. Now it's time to go implement. And what I shared with you is this is easy to do, but it's easier not to do. That's a quote I learned from Jim Rohn. I encourage you to do it. It's real simple, but this can be a game changer for you. This is going to help you gain that focus so that you don't fall victim to that quote, which we started off with, which is lack of clarity is the root of all failure. This now gives you clarity, which is the root of your success. So take the time to list out on page one, what do I need to start doing? The multiple things that could potentially grow your business by 10x your business, and then narrow it down to the one thing, then schedule it into your phone. Then take the next blank sheet of paper, write down all the things that you do in a given month related to your business, and ask yourself, if I'm only allowed to do one thing, what's that one thing for next month? Choose that. Then the second thing, then the third thing, maybe a fourth thing. Take those 3 to 4 things, schedule them into your calendar, treat those appointments as if it's an appointment with me or whoever your favorite mentor is, and don't skimp out on it. Don't schedule it if you're not going to be there, and put the time in, blinders on, distractions off to focus on that. And you're going to realize, holy crap, when I put the attention to these big rocks, I'm gaining massive momentum. The less I work, the more my business grows and the more I earn. Then what do I need to do less of? Everything else on that list. And if and when I choose to do those things, I'm going to do them by creating a process, a system, a checklist, etc. So I can outsource, delegate, still get it done, but not by me. And then the fourth question, what do I need to stop doing altogether? Some of the things are on that list. Their time has gone and passed and gone. I don't know why we're still doing it. We're going to stop doing that. And I'm taking a look at myself. Where am I wasting my most precious and ever fleeting asset of time? I just feel I'm putting too much time into this game, into this gambling, into this porn site, into this alcohol, into this, promiscuity, into Facebook, into YouTube, into the phone itself. Turn these suckers off and give yourself the ability to focus and watch how you will take this knowledge. And a short while from now, my hope and my dream is you'd be like Dean says here, Tom, you outdid yourself tonight. We'll be watching this again and again. Deborah, brilliant. Thanks. Lee, let's go. Tillman, I can completely relate. I'm an all or nothing person. Facebook user. I just invested in Groupathon a lifetime without knowing anything. I just want 2 hours of life mentorship worth a lot. I'm just starting my online business, fitness coaching business. I appreciate the info. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank you. Amazing insight. Freddie, awesome. Facebook user, before you go, I'm new. Who teaches the funnels? Yes. Well, we get into that on the weekly. This is the post Groovathon. You can go to Groove Digital Academy. There's a whole bunch of trainings there inside of Groove Funnels that I just went through. We'll be dealing with them on a weekly basis. And David has trainings that come up as well inside the Facebook group. All right. There you go. Jamil, loving it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Elizabeth, thank you so much. Will this recording remain in the group? Yes, it will be available for you. If it's to be, it's up to me to take imperfect action consistently. I love it. Dr. Phil, awesome. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's time for you to do the work. Y'all gave me your commitment that you were going to do it. When we meet again next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m., we're going to dive more into Groove Pages and Groove Sell to now show you how to take this, turn it into Groove Pages, into Groove Sell, grow your list, grow your offers, grow your revenue and results and profits. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Veronica, great training. Tosh, thanks, Tom. Now I can find my way around. Yes, Kara, awesome. Very good. So, David, I think we are closing in on a strong finish today, giving people some clarity. I think you probably handled all the questions as they unfolded. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my honor and pleasure having you here. I look forward to seeing you next week. And for people that like this, as I mentioned, if you just go to tombeal.com, it brings you to my YouTube page. There's a whole bunch of other videos there. If you like this, there's more there. But I'll see you again next week, 6 p.m. EST on Tuesday. Implement this, and I look forward to getting your testimonial about this changing your trajectory. All right, David, thank you. Behind the scenes, all good back there for you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, go make me and David proud. We'll see you inside the Facebook group and inside this training next week. Make today great. Bye for now.